Deer Park Monastery is a Buddhist monastery and mindfulness retreat center located in Escondido, California, in the Plum Village tradition. The Plum Village tradition was founded by Zen master Thích, affectionately called Thai by his students. Thích, a Vietnamese monk, teacher, and peace activist, was exiled from Vietnam in the 1960s due to his efforts to promote peace during the war. In 1982, he established Plum Village in France as a sanctuary for practicing mindfulness and building a community focused on peace and compassion. His intention was to create a modern expression of Buddhism, one that integrated mindfulness into every aspect of daily life. Thai believed in engaged Buddhism, emphasizing that spiritual practice should address the suffering of the world, transforming both individuals and society. At Deer Park, I participated in 11 days of retreat and had the privilege of speaking with 3 respected teachers, gaining deeper insight into the transformative power of mindfulness and compassionate living.
Happiness is here and now. I have dropped my worries. Somewhere to go, something to do, but I don't need to hurry. Then I can go in 1,000 directions, but on this lovely path I walk in peace. With each step, the gentle wind blows. With each step, the flower blooms.
Good morning, dear beloved community. I am Sister Practice, and I'm very happy that all of you, both new and returning friends, are here with us today for the Day of Mindfulness. As you can see, the morning here is so wonderful, and I always like to begin walking meditation by pausing and silently appreciating the gift that life is giving me. And walking meditation means that when you walk, both your body and mind are fully present. Not just your body is here while your mind is somewhere over the rainbow, right? Yeah, walking meditation is not about walking in any special way. You walk as you normally do, but you bring your full awareness to every step. You feel the movement of your legs, feel the touch of your feet with the ground. Relax your body, walk leisurely, and be fully present. Enjoy life that is unfolding with each step. This is walking meditation. Of course, if our mind is present with each step as we walk, that's wonderful. But often, after a few steps, our mind starts to wander in 1,000 directions, right? How many of you here feel that your mind gets easily distracted while you walk? Could you raise your hand? Oh, it looks like you're not alone, and it is very normal. Everyone here is on the path of mindful practicing. When you notice your mind starting to wander, you just smile at it and say, "Cuckoo, I see you," and acknowledging that the wandering thoughts without being distracted by them, and gently return your mind back to your steps.
Dear Hạnh, dear Sangha, please enjoy your walk. Remember to relax your body.
Well, mindfulness is quite a catchy word now, after a decade or two. But it comes from a translation of a Indian word in Sanskrit is smrti, which means to not only to be mindful, but to remember or to recollect. So if you being mindful is to be aware. So what are we aware of? We're aware of what is happening in the present moment, within our bodies, within our mind, within our emotions. So it's a kind of a gift that we've, as human beings, evolved to have. This, besides running around and just being aware and chasing things because of our hunger and our need to survive. Now, as our consciousness has evolved, we're quite aware of other aspects, right? Our mind, our consciousness, our spirit. So this is how we've evolved. And I think the Buddha is the first one, kind of like recorded to kind of wake up from that, to become mindful of see how things are all connected, right? So when you live with mindfulness, you're aware of what is happening in the present moment, what emotion is coming up, and how that came about, the interconnection of that, how water and food has come to our plate when we eat. So mindfulness helps us remember and be more aware of things that we sometimes just see and take for granted superficially, So these are, it's a kind of energy that helps us kind of direct and be more deliberate and purposeful, because we remember how. So mindful is also being mindful of how impermanent everything is, how everything is interconnected. So being aware and remembering that truth, it helps us live more fully and meaningfully, and not waste our time with things that that is harmful to us and to the environment, to other people. And most of the time we do things that are harmful is because we forget, what is actually good for us and good for other people. You see that? What it means to be mindful, to remember and to recollect. It's like, dude, do I want to go down this path again? Or or we're not aware that, we have this wound and we want to cover it up. And so we run away from our suffering. So we forget that these things don't help, even though it gives you, temporary satisfaction. But we forget that those things make us feel bad afterwards. But because of our tendency, our habits, and our neural pathways are so locked that we forget, we ignore. So anyway, I want to share with you that mindfulness is not just enjoying, being mindful of this, and just, it is about enjoying the present moment, but it's also being aware and being grateful. for a lot of things that are still in our lives. The wonder of being alive. If you're aware of that and you get nourished by that, that will give you a lot of energy to embrace and to hold other energies that you might have that might be difficult and challenging. So it can be cultivated, mindfulness. Through meditation, we can be more mindful of our breath, be more mindful of our posture, our body. So you breathe in, you're aware of your breath. Breathe out, you relax. So you know this present moment, you're fully there. You're not in your head, right? And you can be aware of your body. Is it tense? So you use your breath to be aware of your breath, and then take that to be aware of your body. And it goes like that. It goes from your body to your ideas, how you look at things, your perception, then your notion, your thoughts. And then you begin to look around and be more aware, focus-wise, one-pointed, or more of the surrounding, who's around and what's going on. So it's a kind of energy of awareness. And the more you cultivate that, the more sensitive you are to what's happening in the present moment. Not just here, but around the planet, on the planet. There's a lot of things, and it moves you. If you're mindful, it directs you to live your life in a particular way, how to take care of yourself, take care of your day. So it's an energy, mindfulness, energy that can be trained, cultivated. And it's like a battery, your capacity, your energetic, awareness becomes stronger. And that's a very needed energy now, because people are lost and not present anymore. And that's another word that can go along with mindfulness. Besides recollecting, remembering, is presence. Your mind is fully present. You're there, And if you're strong enough, concentrated, then you know what to do, not to do, what to say or not to say. You're no longer reactive like your habitual tendencies and impulses. And that is lacking more and more in our society. That's why we need training. And people are on their gadgets and internet, and they're always thinking about somewhere else. They're full of thinking. So mindfulness helps us reduce that thinking and be more present. When you're present, you don't have all kinds of notions that precede, the moment. Oh, let's take this, sunset photograph. Oh, where's my camera, And then you miss everything because you're so worried about taking pictures. Your habit, right? And you go through life like that, always catching, but not really present. And that's a shame, because when you hit 80, you're like, man, what happened? And you can't rewind, So being present to your life and the gift of being alive. In Buddhism, suffering is because we have wrong ideas about things, wrong notions about things that are, impermanent as being permanent. Things that are very connected, but then we separate them. We have all these notions. Of course, life, there's pain, there's loss, there's, from our habits and, unskillfulness as human beings, we cause each other suffering. We cause ourselves suffering because we just don't know who we are and what, what is worthy and meaningful to do, and what is harmful and what is not harmful. So suffering is a lot of unknown. We live mindlessly, not aware of what is right, what is helpful, what is skillful. So we have impulses and habits and notions that are not aligned with really how things work. You lose something, you break something, it's like so, how you react to it, you suffer or not. You lose your parents and there's pain. But if you have time to take care and grieve properly and go through the emotion, and you'll find a closeness. I think mindfulness helps us because we learn to know what is appropriate and how to look at things. I would say he's like the only teacher I know that says that you need to learn how to suffer. If you know how to suffer, then you'll suffer less. So, anytime you hear, you try to remove suffering, get rid of suffering. But Thai's got a more organic, humanistic approach that if we learn how to embrace and hold our suffering, then we will understand its cause. So this is the first two noble truths. And once you have understanding of something, its nature and why it came about, that understanding is a kind of already a relief. If you really look at it, when we, have anger at somebody, it's probably because we don't understand why they did something or their background or what are the conditions that made them do that, and they are suffering as well. They have many habitual energies transmitted to them from their family. To begin to understand them, you kind of like, it's not like you forgive them and condone their action, but you kind of suffer less because, you kind of get it. Like, yeah, I know why he's like that or why she behaved like that. So that's looking deeply and understanding suffering. It's like a baby crying, Thai repeatedly reminds us. If you hold the baby calm and peaceful, your anger, your suffering, you begin to understand it. You don't try to stop the baby from crying by slapping it and trying to like tighten it and stuff, but you hold it and you get to understanding, and your peace and your calm also helps. So suffering is inevitable, but how we deal with it is our choice.
It's transforming suffering. Yeah, it's a path to transform suffering, and when you transform suffering, that is happiness. So happiness and suffering are not separate. It's more clear in Sanskrit, sukha and dukkha. They are connected. So when you feel dukkha, suffering or ill-being, so that's why if you say ill-being and well-being, it's a bit easier in English because it's that kind of thing. They are connected. So transforming suffering, that is happiness. And so the path is, and the path is in every moment. So it's not like your happiness is over there and you just need to undergo this trial in order to get to your happiness. But it's in every moment you experience happiness. That's how you know you're on the path. So Buddhism is not about attainment, but it's about real-time transformation of ill-being or suffering, and how to do that, and learning skillful ways to do that, and helping other people to do it. Freedom can be just an idea. And so what is true freedom? So that's something that we need to ask. I mean, I ask myself, what is true freedom? Because what I think might be freedom, like the freedom to choose this or that, or buy this item online, or go on this vacation, or have this career. You think that's freedom, but I would say that's a kind of illusory freedom, the freedom of the so-called freedom of choice. So I think here freedom is a kind of lightness of being, Thai would say dwelling happily in the present moment. And so it's not about choosing this or that, but it's about understanding what is pain, hurt, trauma, whatever we call it, what is somehow not easeful, light in our body and our mind. Understanding that arises due to conditions and causes, that there are, and you can recognize those conditions and causes, and you can find ways to remove those causes and conditions, and then you suffer less. And when you suffer less, that's freedom. So when we talk about freedom, it's not about freedom of choice, but freedom from our habitual patterns of causing, this unpleasant pain, trauma for ourselves and for other people. So that is what we call true freedom. And the beauty is you can enter that door that works for you in the moment. And we don't have to feel like there's only one way into the practice or one way into the Dharma. Many people find mindful breathing very helpful. I've personally found it very helpful. And because the breath is always there wherever you go. And whatever activity you're engaged in, even when you're sleeping, you can practice being mindful of your breathing. So it's portable. It doesn't require equipment. You don't need to have an expert doctor or even an expert meditator. You can just read a few words about how to practice mindful breathing, and you already have quite a bit of you already have a practice that can bring you joy and happiness in the present moment. Just stopping what you're doing, bringing all your attention to your breathing. And the main practice that I always say that I love to do is to shine that same awareness that we can put on our breath on my suffering or my experience of pain and in the body and in the mind, because there's so much to learn there when you stop and are aware of your suffering. Like any even the slightest tension in your belly and your shoulders, you shine a light of mindfulness on it, and then you see it right away. It changes. You start to relax. You're actually using your body's natural capacity to heal by giving your attention to that part of your body or part of your thinking in your mind. So if you notice you're harboring some resentment, some grudge against somebody, or they did this or that, you just keep shining the light on that. So it's in your mind and your thinking. And see, why do I have those perceptions coming up so often? What if I turned it around and I would praise that person for all the good qualities they have? Why do I keep saying, oh, they do this or they do that, or they think badly about me for this or that? You just turn it around. So you learned how to transform your thinking, how to transform your way of relating to your body. And some people have a fear of their own body. And so just thinking about their body creates tension and stress. So we learn how to, with the mindful breathing, we learn how to shine the light of mindfulness in a way that's very relaxed.
This is a Chinese character, and you see, for enough. You see, this is a mouth, so it's like the head, the body, one arm, two legs, enough. So when I share this with young people, I ask them, do you have a head? Yes. Do you have a body? Yes. Do you have one arm? Yes. You actually have two arms. Most of us were very lucky. Do you have two legs? Yes. Then are you enough? They say, yes. Say louder. Yes. I am enough. Knowing that we are enough already bring a lot of peace and happiness. Many of us feel impoverished. It's like we are lacking, we're not good enough. And we try too hard to strive, to grasp, to impress others. But if we come back and recognize, wow, we have more than enough, all of these internal, external organs that we have, everything all around us, we have so much, then we feel full, whole, complete from within, where we are, exactly where we are. From that place of wholeness and of being enough, whatever we do, there's more freedom, more peace. Versus when we feel we're not enough, everything we do is like grasping, holding on. And it would never be enough. A millionaire would still feel he needs more or she needs more. A president would still feel they need more power. And even a person who's lived to be in their 80s or 90s, still they'll grasp. They'll be afraid of death. But if we feel we have enough, our life is so rich already, then everything more is simply a blessing. Ice on the cake, you say. Icing on the cake. Yeah, then we celebrate. We are happy. You see? So know that you are enough. It's already a great condition of happiness. And that also means that to be grateful for what we have. Don't take for granted these eyes. If an accident happens and we have only one eye, or we lose vision, we will suffer so much. And all we wish is to have back those two good eyes. They may not look so beautiful like somebody else's eyes, but trust me, you will value your eyes a lot more. But why don't we value our eyes right now as they are? They don't need to be more beautiful, more blue or more brown or more green, just as they are, you know? To be grateful for what we have brings a lot of peace and happiness. The teaching on interbeing is very, very important. To me, interbeing encompasses all teachings of the Buddha. And I have this model of a yin-yang bean. They are real beans. And this is a model of this bean. You can see that it's small like this. And half of the bean is white and half of the bean is black. On the white half, there's a black dot. And on the black half, there's a white dot. In the white, there's the black. In the black, there's the white. Right? So I call this an interbeing. This is in that, and that is in this. Okay? Interbeing, which illustrates the teaching of the Buddha on interbeing. We think ourselves as self-made, completely independent and separate from everything else. And yet, we know that if we just remove the water element from our body, be shrunken. It's like when we die and we are cremated, all the water element has been extracted. The weight of the ashes is equivalent to our body weight when we were born. So this, however big burly your body is, when you become ashes, just a bag, like a baby. So water element, all the food we have consumed, but also all the news, the world views, attitudes we've also consumed from our families, our society. So if when we think we are separate and independent, that's an illusion. It's a delusion. So we see interbeing, and it's so important because it helps us heal that sense of separateness. In our practice, we learn to be aware of our body because the body reflects the mind. Mind and body reflects each other. They are each other. So in mindful breathing, I think of if you're a bird watcher, or you simply watch a bird flying in the sky, you just watch it as it is. You're not making the bird going north or south. You're not making the bird flying faster or slower. You just simply watch it. We just watch our breathing, just like we're watching a bird flying in the sky. Or another analogy is like you have a pen and you follow the breath from the beginning. You're breathing in, and then the whole length of the in-breath, and then there's a pause. You smile and relax, and then you follow the out-breath from that point all the way to the end. It makes one cycle. It sounds simple, but it's not simple, because as you follow the in-breath only this much, your thought already arises. Something takes you away. But it's okay. You say, come back, come back, come back, come back. Just come back. Just breathe and smile and relax in this pause. And as you breathe out, this is your mind. This is your breath. Stick to it. Follow it. So when you start, maybe you just simply, this is an in-breath. Your mind takes place. This is an out-breath. But as you practice more, you will be able to follow the whole way through, from the beginning to the pause, to the end, from the beginning of the out-breath to the end. Just that way. And it becomes a good habit. Every time in our tradition, every time we hear a sound of the bell, church bell, clock chime, wind chime, big bell, small bell in the meditation hall, even the siren, red light, we use those sounds to help us come back to the breath. And those are moments of respite, of stopping. And in stopping, you have deep looking, you see? So I'll invite one sound of the bell, and then you practice with me, okay? You follow the breath from the beginning, and you can simply say, in, pause, out, pause, relax, in, like that. You can mentally say that to yourself, okay? You can spend your whole life looking for somebody to love you, accept you, be there for you. But that soulmate is not outside. You can be a soulmate to yourself. Remind yourself that you deserve peace and healing, that you deserve to be your own soulmate, to be a soulmate to your inner child. Take good care of her, take good care of him, take good care of them. You deserve that. And by being your own soulmate, by knowing how to take care of yourself mindfully and peacefully, naturally you become a soulmate to your loved ones, to the people you serve. You help change your environment in a positive and natural way. So enjoy, my dear. Enjoy learning more about mindfulness and practice them. It's most important is to practice. Okay. Breathe and smile. Bless you.
Thich Nhat Hanh had a famous saying, "No mud, no lotus." A lotus flower grows in mud. Without the mud, there could be no lotus. In the same way, if we never suffered, we wouldn't appreciate happiness, nor would we develop compassion for the suffering of others. What Buddhists say brings us the deepest happiness. Rather than trying to be free from all suffering, Thai taught us to learn the art of transforming our suffering into peace, joy, and liberation. We do this through practicing mindfulness and deep looking, waking up from forgetfulness and preoccupation with thinking, becoming aware of ourselves and the present moment, and looking deeply into our lives. Happiness and suffering have causes and conditions that bring them about. They are like seeds that need water to grow. If we want to be free of suffering, we must stop watering the seed of suffering within us. If we want to be happy, we must nurture the seed of happiness within us.